He was ruthless and unpredictable, but also an astute politician. His people celebrated when he came to power, but it was those same people who brought about his downfall. Colonel Gaddafi was the Arab Spring's most high-profile casualty. He was captured alive in Sirte, his hometown. Muammar Gaddafi was a young army officer when he deposed Libya's king and took power in 1969. Libyans gathered in the streets and nicknamed him Brother Leader. Gaddafi's power at the time depended heavily on the military, so he used Libya's oil money to increase its size and strength. But he tried to appease normal Libyans too, using some of the money to increase their standard of living. Libya became a regional power, but Colonel Gaddafi's outspoken criticism of the West led to Ronald Reagan calling him a mad dog.
This mad dog of the Middle East has a goal of a world revolution, Muslim fundamentalist revolution.
Soon America's warplanes were in action above Libya. Gaddafi's regime was accused of bankrolling terrorism, and airstrikes hit his house and headquarters. The mad dog emerged unscathed. Relations between Britain and Libya were under pressure too, after WPC Yvonne Fletcher was shot dead outside the Libyan embassy in London. The bullet came from inside the embassy building. Then there was Lockerbie in 1988. Libya was blamed for the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. All the passengers and some people on the ground were killed. Gaddafi and his regime were outcasted by the international community. But Muammar Gaddafi managed to find a way back. In the new millennium, he met Tony Blair, agreed to support the war on terror, and said he would pay compensation to the families of Lockerbie victims. Several years later, he was reconciled with the UN too, and even felt confident enough that there would be no sanction when, despite anger in Britain and the US, he greeted the Lockerbie bomber with open arms when he was released from prison. He may have been eccentric, but Colonel Gaddafi was clever and ruthless. In the end, though, despite the heavy-handed attempts of his troops, he couldn't keep his own people from overthrowing him. He had to flee as Libya descended into civil war. With the help of NATO aircraft, rebel fighters took town after town and closed in on their former leader. In the end, Colonel Gaddafi had nowhere to run, and with the international community once again against him, he had no one to turn to either.